Andy, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy? How's it going?
Good. Yeah, you said go, right? I wasn't supposed to wait for the setup
Oh no, it's all right. I was just pressing the buttons to go live. It's all good.
for sure. What's up, guys? This is just open discussion. No topics, only YouTube live. This won't be on Spotify. Just kicking back. This is probably more so where you can get to know the crew, much less nerd news, although it'll probably spill into the conversation, of course. But yeah, that's about it. You got two fathers here with kind of stay at home jobs. So, man, we have time to do this stuff. We might as well hop onto YouTube, get a presence, get to know y'all, because all we do is talk about nerd stuff. We never talk about life, Andy. Life. So, how is life for you?
Life's interesting, mate. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm a stay-at-home dad. Have been for the last 7 months. My daughter's like 14 months old now, nearly 15 months. So, yeah, my wife went back to work after 6 months. I took over and stay at home. I'm a stay-at-home nerd, as you can see from everything behind me as well. So, yeah, it's all just chilling, isn't it? I mean, you've got some kids a little bit older than me, haven't you? So,
Yep. 7-year-old daughter, 3-year-old twin boys, and another one on the way. So,
oh really? I didn't know that actually.
yeah, another one. We're about halfway done with this pregnancy. That's it, though. We'll be stopping at 4.
Just the four. Jesus Christ. I stopped at the one,
4.
mate.
Well, my sister didn't want a third, but then they ended up she's pregnant as well, about on the same course as my wife is. So she's gonna have a third kid. So now I'm really wanting to kind of move closer to family. They're over in Arkansas, and just to have the cousins grow up together. And my God, there's amazing properties in Arkansas for a great price, like 10 acres of property. But there's heat, humidity, way more ticks and stuff, bugs, a lot of annoying bugs.
I
And I
mean, for
like the
those,
snow, dude. I like the high
yeah.
alpine snow. I like snowboarding, snowmobiling. So I don't want to move to Arkansas, but I want the cousins to be together.
So geographically wise, where is Arkansas? Because obviously I'm not American. I'm not living there. I don't know exactly where in the country it is.
It's like mid southeast area, kind of east of Texas and all that. It's near, you got the Ozarks and Missouri right there. I think it's just north of like Louisiana, Alabama area. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I live on the south coast in England, so I don't really ever. I've seen snow like 3 times in about 35 years down here. So
Okay.
just doesn't happen. It's
How close to the beach are you?
about a 10-minute drive.
Nice. Is it
I
like
mean,
is it a nice beach or how is it?
yeah. I mean, the town I'm in, the beach that we've got, it's rated as one of the highest rated beaches in Europe.
Mm.
So it is really good. It's obviously extremely busy in the summertime.
Yeah.
So it's it's funny because the locals tend to avoid the beach at the summertime unless we absolutely really want to go down there because it's absolutely so packed every single day when the weather's good. So but there's lots of other nice places to go around here. But yeah, I mean, I grew up literally living like 500 yards away from the beach
Oh, that is
when I was a
awesome.
kid. So literally like a 2-minute walk and I was there. So now I'm a little bit more inland, not far inland, but like just obviously a bit more inside the town rather than by the edge anymore. So
That was my problem with the beach in San Diego. It's like great to go to the beach and get some sun, but there's so many people in the parking. It's not
yeah,
like if you go way up north. I've also done like Northern California beaches, and those beaches you'll find full beaches, no people, and it's just beautiful. You can get in your Zen mode, do a run, whatever you got to do on the beach, meditate. I don't know, yoga. You don't have that in San Diego, man. You can get there at 5 in the morning. Beaches are already still pretty. They got people already. So,
nice.
all right. So this is probably the weirdest question I've always wondered. So, how far does it take you to drive from one side of England to the next? The
If you
full.
Well, if you're talking north to south, so the whole length of the UK,
I
so the
was
bottom
thinking
of
width,
England.
but let's do
Oh,
north
width. I
south
mean,
too.
width.
I figured that'll be a long one.
Width isn't. I mean, compared to what Americans talk about, in terms of. I mean, first of all, can we just say, Mr. Cochrane, can you go away? No one invited you to this chat. What are you doing here? Uh, yeah, in terms of obviously like Americans like turn around and go, "Oh, a 4-hour drive is nothing." for
Right.
you guys because you have so much ground to cover. So for you, you're used to it. For us, it's like, if our family's an hour away, we can't be bothered with driving that much to go and see them. So in terms of, the width of the country, you're probably talking about, I would say, like 3, maybe 4 hours at absolute most.
Cool.
In terms of like from the bottom of England, so to say where I'm located, to say the top of Scotland,
Yeah,
you're
that's a
talking
long
about
one.
11 to 12 hours.
Oh, that's still less than I expected.
Yeah.
I figured, wow, that is a small little country. And population density wise, are you guys like stuffed traffic everywhere? Is there still places where people have dozens of acres and there's like
I mean,
peace and
there's still obviously lots of countryside and stuff like
that's
that,
good.
and stuff like that. But obviously the cities and towns are a bit more congested now because obviously they're still fighting for housing and stuff like that. But there's still wide open spaces you can go to and stuff like that. So it's if you know the right areas to go to, or if you want to, like I've always said, I want to retire to a little village. I don't want to be stuck in the big towns and cities once I decide to retire, or if I ever have enough money to retire. And stuff. So I'd love to be in a little village where there's a population of like 1,000 people at most.
Yeah.
So I can't be dealing with people like
That's
London's got like 12 million people in it. So
jeez. That's our goals. We want property. We don't want to see anybody. We don't want traffic in our vicinity. We want, we want chicken. Dave's got a ton of chickens. We
mm.
want chickens, a garden, maybe even a cow or a goat or something. So, and we want to ride we want to ride dirt bikes and quads on our property. Um, so that's what brought us closer to Montana. My goal is Montana. So we made it halfway there. We're in Idaho. Don't love Idaho that much. At least the Boise Valley areas, it's top notch as far as I could drive 45 minutes and have just the best recreation. There's some of the best networks of rivers that I've lived near. Multiple, so a lot of rafting and uh, boogie boarding. What's that? What's the paddle boarding?
Mm.
But a lot of rafters, and so we're gonna try to get our own raft here now that we have another kid coming. So get an 8-person raft, and you just bring your whole family. Let's go. But yeah, there's so much traffic here because the infrastructure is just not built for the amount of population that's in this little valley. So it's really annoying. You'll get stuck on these little 1-lane roads at most times of the day. It's really annoying. So we got to get out of here. But we're closer to the mountains in San Diego. Don't really miss the beach that much. I'm kind of over it.
Are you going to miss being further away from being able to go to things like Comic Con?
That's the one thing I do miss. So that was a blessing, right? Going to Comic-Con, not even entering the facility, but just being downtown. The roads are closed off. Everyone's cosplaying. Great dining and drinking downtown, obviously. There's a ton of tents and Comic-Con oriented stuff going on. So even if you don't get tickets to go into Comic-Con, you could still have a great time in San Diego during Comic-Con. Big time.
Yeah, it's the same in the cities and towns around here when you got the big Comic Cons going on. You don't even have to go in to obviously see it all. So, I mean, the biggest one I've been to was 2000, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I went to a Star Wars celebration when it was in the UK. And we literally just went out for the day. Like, we thought about obviously staying in a hotel and stuff like that. But I think the thing is, the second it was announced in the UK of where it was going to be in the dates, all the hotels around it booked up like instantly. So we're about 2.5 hours away by train. So we just decided to go up in the morning and then come back. So JD's taking a personal call right now. These things do happen when you're live. So
Classic. I would never do that for an official episode. It's just too laid back for this one. I'm liking it though. And I'm really looking forward to not having anything to edit. We just
yeah,
we just press end and call it a
yeah,
day.
it's all good. It's all good, brother.
So 14 months, dudes. Your baby is now starting to crawl around a lot, maybe walk.
She's getting there. It's definitely crawling. In terms, yeah, walking. I mean, she stands up a lot and she's able to hold herself up. And she shuffles along the sides of the sofa and stuff when she's holding on to it. So she's definitely getting it. Excuse me, that's the tea coming back up. But yeah, she's definitely going to be there. I think in the next few months, being able to. She's obviously just got to stand on her own and she without holding on to anything, and then take those first few steps. But yeah, I think she's going to be there probably before the end of the year. So
Starting to grab a bunch of stuff, like knocking stuff over yet?
Oh, yeah, yeah, and she's at that stage where if something doesn't go her way instantly or she doesn't get what she wants instantly, it's full on meltdown mode. So like
Yeah.
today, she was playing with some pots and balls, and the when she was putting the pot on top of the ball on top of the pot and shaking it, and then when the ball flew out, she's having a tantrum because the ball wouldn't stay in the pot. And then, like after 6 or 7 times of doing this, she had a full on meltdown because it wouldn't stay in the pot. And I'm like, cool, this is what I get to deal with now. So like yesterday, it was a full on meltdown because I wouldn't give her my phone, and I'm like, my phone is the most expensive piece of tech we have in this household, because I've got one of those Galaxy Folds, so one of the ones that like completely opens up. So I'm like not letting her touch that really because it's way too expensive to let a 1-year-old play with it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're entering the new stage of you're gonna have to get up every minute or two to go stop chaos from happening. And that's when it does
Yeah.
pick up in a different way. It's the end of a certain kind of peaceful era. of, and then into a new era of yeah, you can't really like I'm getting really annoyed of I can't sit down and read anymore. Like that used to be my thing. I would spend hours reading and I absolutely can't do it to where my brain's like rewired itself, even if everyone's asleep or like Lexi takes them to the store and I'm just at home alone. It's like my brain's not wired to enjoy a solid hour of reading anymore because it's just you got to get up and stop them from fighting, especially the twins, man. Two of them together, it's just chaos because kids are emotional and illogical. It's just part of growing up. So when they don't get what they want, they need to scream and fight for it. So then these two beings that think the same exact way about that kind of thing are just always emotionally fighting each other for toys. And
Yeah.
yeah, don't hand them the wrong kind of food, man. Game over.
I
No,
think
but
that's it's going to be the fight between me and my wife because anyone that knows me knows I was the chef for like 20 years before I retired, and so obviously I was award winning and stuff, so I'm very good in the kitchen. Obviously, I'd like to have a lot of different types of food and make good food, and my wife has no palate whatsoever. She doesn't enjoy cooking, so it's always been that thing of like I've always cooked for us, and then we're just waiting to see is the baby going to be fussy and not want any type of food and just wants chicken nuggets, or is she going to have a decent palate because I can teach her that way. So that's always going to be fun. And right now, I'm not winning that battle because she's just like looking at me going, "What is this you put in front of me? I don't want this. Where's my chicken nuggets and barbecue sauce?"
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the battle. She will probably have a higher or wider range palette than most if you do introduce her to a lot of stuff early. Even if it seems like she is getting back into the chicken nuggets only. That's how my kids are too. Like I started giving them all kinds of stuff when they were young. A bit of a health freak, right? I just wanted to have meats and fruits and veggies for them. But they would eat things like bell peppers, and like
Mm.
they started liking things like bell peppers early on. So they ended up with a solid palate, but they will always kind of just like want the chicken nuggets. If they're really hungry, just give me a bunch of that chicken nuggets, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
I'm still the same. I'm like, oh, I can't be asked to cook anything right now. Let me just order a 20 nugget share box from McDonald's. It's fine.
And did you say award-winning chef?
I was, yeah, award-winning chef. Yeah.
Please
Like,
elaborate, Andy. Interesting.
so
That's
obviously
awesome.
restaurants get awarded like rosettes and Michelin stars and stuff. So a Michelin star is technically made up of rosettes. So rosettes are what you get awarded first, and then or you can obviously jump straight to a Michelin star technically, but a Michelin star is the equivalent of 4 rosettes. So this is awarded by the Michelin company that obviously go around and they obviously taste test in restaurants all around the world. And so when the Michelin guide comes out and they tell you where all the restaurants are that have been awarded rosettes or Michelin stars and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, 1 Michelin star is the equivalent of 4 rosettes. At the height of my chefing career, I mean, I won a few awards. Like when I was 17, I won like the Tourist Board Junior Chef of the Year in the town that I was living in. I was a head chef by 21. And then by the time I was 24, I had 2 rosettes. So by the time I was 24, within 3 years of being a head chef, I was halfway to a Michelin star. Won a few cooking competitions, so obviously won those awards as well for getting rosettes. Yeah, and then I went off to work in hotels and stuff, which is a little bit different rather than just standard restaurants. But
More
again,
like catering.
no, it's had in-house restaurants, but it was slightly different because obviously you got to do breakfast. We did breakfast and dinner, and then there was just like a small lunch menu and stuff. So it's a little bit different to just a restaurant where you can prepare everything a bit differently. You've got to work longer hours because you got to be up at 5 a.m. to start breakfast at 6 and stuff
Well,
like
it's all
that.
like prep too, prep and
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, worked at some really big hotels where we used to do like 500 people for like breakfast and dinner and stuff. So, and you still got to do all of that restaurant style. And things like that. So again, won awards though, not just for the food, but also for like the cleanliness of the kitchen and the restaurant, and just the service and stuff as well. So yeah, that was my career that I did for like from the age of 14 till I was like in my late 30s, and absolutely loved it, to be fair.
Any key dishes? What's the best thing you can make, or a couple?
It's always the question I get asked.
Yeah.
What's your signature dish?
Yes.
So I used to make a ballotine of chicken. So those that don't know, it's where the chicken breast is sort of like patted out, so it's fairly thin, but still got a good centimeter or so thickness
The
to
crepe version of a
it.
chicken.
Sort of, but still a little bit of thickness there. And then I used to fill it with a chorizo, basil, and roasted garlic mousse. So put that in the middle, then roll it up into so it's like a tube shape. Then wrap it in Parma ham, and then I would poach it and then pan fry it. So you poach it to keep the chicken nice and juicy, then pan fry it in some butter just to get that Parma ham on the outside nice and crispy. Then I used to serve that with like a sweet potato carrot puree, some like lemon asparagus, and like a tarragon sauce on top, like a tarragon cream sauce.
So this doesn't seem like 3-4 star restaurant. This seems like 5-star restaurant chef stuff.
I mean, there's lots of things that go into when you're awarded those like rosettes and Michelin stars and stuff. So, at that age, I was nowhere near experienced enough and knew enough to be really reaching like a lot higher than where I was. It was amazing that I did what I did at that age, to be fair. So, to be reaching a lot higher, I needed more experience. And yeah, I was a young head chef. I used to, because when I was younger, you model yourself on the managers that you have or that you experience at that time. And especially at that time when, like, I suppose we're going back to like the early 2000s, and TV chefs were just starting to get a bit bigger, and you used to see a lot of them shouting and stuff. So when I was like a young head chef at 21, I thought the way that you motivate your staff is that you shout them and you bollock them and you're like, come on, you useless bastard, what are you doing? Get on with it. And then as you start getting a bit older and you mature, and I realised that's not the way to deal with it, and you get better at then not only managing your staff, but obviously your food as well. So I think by the time I could have maybe reached my peak at food, I was doing different things and wasn't cooking at the same sort of like high end restaurant level that I was doing before. So yeah, it changes as time went through, but at the same point, I never stopped loving cooking. So I mean, I still cook every day for the family and everything. So
Top 3 breakfast cereals, Andy. Let's hear it.
oh, well, it's different. It's different because you have so many different cereals than we have over here.
Oh, that's a conversation in its own. Do you have Fruity Pebbles?
I mean, I think as well, when I was a kid, we did get a lot of American cereals, but they seem to have vanished because we have different laws about sugar and stuff over here compared to you guys.
You do, yeah. Yeah.
Which is also interesting because I'm fat as hell and you're muscly and, and fit. So it's ironic that the sugar levels in the UK are far more controlled, and yet I don't care. I will still eat as much chocolate as I can get my hands on. So, but top three
Interesting.
cereals is an interesting one because, like, when I was a kid, we still had all the things like Lucky Charms and Fruity Pebbles, all under various different names, like Pop Tarts as well, things like that. But they're not as prevalent over here now because of the control on sugar law. So you can still order them, and they do appear in like American sweet shops over here and stuff. But they're very expensive because they're all imported. So,
Interesting.
um,
Yeah, because when I visited Mexico, they had a cereal I've never seen, but it's the same brand of Frosted Flakes. But it was chocolate Frosted Flakes with
yeah.
marshmallows.
Oh, interesting.
They had that at this buffet, and I took about like 8 boxes into my bag and took them home. They were so good. But yeah, so I guess you don't have all the same stuff. So no Fruity Pebbles, Captain Crunch, Cinnamon
No,
Toast
no.
Crunch.
Cinnamon
Oh,
Toast. I mean, Captain Crunch. No, I've never had Captain Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Again, we had that when I was younger. I think it's still around in some form now. Like, do you guys have Golden Grahams?
yeah, I think we have Golden Grams. Yeah.
So we had those when I was a kid, and then they disappeared for years, and they've just brought them back recently, like this year, back into shops again. It's really bizarre how they like disappear and then come back again like 20 years later. Um, but yeah, like I mean, I like stuff like Crunch Nut cornflakes. Although they did a limited edition salted caramel version, because I am, let me tell you now, JD, I am a whore for anything salted caramel.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's got salted caramel in it, I will have it. I will eat pots of salted caramel sauce with a spoon on its own, and it's no wonder I'm a diabetic. So, um,
Ooh,
but yeah, Yeah, so salted caramel crunchy nut cornflakes was obviously just so it's like honey, nuts, salted caramel flavor. That's toasted corn. That's always going to be good.
What
Um,
about ice cream brands? Haagen Dazs, Ben and Jerry's. You got those?
yeah, we get all those to be fair.
Ooh, so Haagen
Oh,
Dazs. It's not salted caramel, but it's caramel cone. It's like one of
no,
the best.
we didn't get that one.
It's one of the best. It's like one of my favorite ever. And
I
yeah,
get
caramel cone.
I get frustrated with Ben and Jerry's because I go to my local cinema and they have like a Ben and Jerry's ice cream bar there, and they get flavors that you can't buy in the shops. So they got one called Cherry Garcia, and I love cherry flavored stuff. And so every time I go to the cinema, I have to get some Cherry Garcia Ben and Jerry's, but you can't buy it in tubs in the shops over here. They just don't sell it like commercially to the masses. You can only get it if you like run a business and order like the fucking 5 litre tubs of the stuff. So so there are certain flavors that are restricted over here. There's not a lot of fruit flavored ice cream from like the big companies. So like
Hmm.
Haagen Dazs, Ben and Jerry's, people like that. It's all like all the chocolatey and caramel and all that sort of. Maybe strawberries about as good as it gets, really. So
Yeah. I remember in Germany, if it's similar to UK, I don't know, but we a lot of places we went to eat was pastries and sausage.
I
That sounds
mean
about right.
that's Germany down to a T. To be fair, yeah. Um, I mean, famously in England, we love the sausage roll. I know something that Americans seem a bit weird about, or haven't really, in my experience of what I've seen from American places trying to do sausage rolls, they haven't really been able to master it yet. They find it weird of having like sausage meat wrapped in pastry for some reason. It's like I always see that, like pigs in blankets.
Yeah, we
Pigs in
have.
blankets. I found that different in the UK to what it is in America. So I've always heard that in America, pig in blanket is like a bit of sausage wrapped in pastry.
Wrapped in a pancake, yeah.
So over here, a pig in blanket is like a chipolata sausage, so like a small, thin, slightly longer sausage wrapped in streaky bacon.
Huh.
So again, it's interesting similarities because
Wrapped in bacon, but
yeah,
not croissant or anything, just
no,
bacon.
no. So
Oh,
a
well,
pig
that's
in
fine. Yeah.
blanket to us is just a sausage wrapped in bacon,
Oh, yeah, that's the
whereas for
blanket.
you
All right.
guys, it's sausage wrapped in pastry or something like that. So yeah, it's just funny those little differences. But and ours is obviously better because we're the UK and we did it first. So
What I like a good cream cheese stuffed jalapeno wrapped in bacon. It's one of the best.
yeah, we do get jalapeno poppers over here, but they're mostly rubbish because they're just sold at like general like kebab shop takeaways and like burger takeaway places and stuff like that. So they all buy them in frozen and just like whack them in the deep fat fryer.
Hmm.
So they're not the best quality of the ones I've had over here.
Well, let me ask you this: Can you grow your own peppers, or do you grow your
Yeah,
own herbs or
I
anything?
I mean I don't grow my own because we live in a like a first floor apartment.
Yeah,
So I don't have any space. I don't have any garden space or like windowsill space to grow any herbs or anything like that. But yeah, but I have done in the past in terms of growing herbs. And like my grandparents used to have a massive orchard where they had like apple and plums, and they used to have a greenhouse where they grow like tomatoes and chilies and peppers and
nice.
stuff. So you definitely can do it over here. There's definitely still space to do it if you have the money to have a good enough place where you've got the space to do it.
Yeah. Well, you don't get sunlight into your house.
Not much, to be fair. Um, I mean, yeah, we get obviously comes in that side and then goes around the back of the house in the afternoon. I'm not much of a sun person either way. I try to avoid it, to be honest.
Right on. Yeah, we had a nice big garden last year, like, just unlimited cucumbers and unlimited jalapenos, and then we had a little bit of a ton of random stuff like dill, peppermint, beets, carrots, uh, spinach, chard beets, rosemary, and I actually shoveled that thing out when I moved to Idaho and took my rosemary bush with me because it was pretty big and I
Nice.
didn't want to let it go. So I planted that here. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair play for doing it. One of the restaurants I used to work in, we used to have like a garden at the back. So we used to grow a bunch of different herbs and then just go out and chop them every day and use them in the restaurant. So I
Yeah.
used to love doing that.
Yeah. So you stopping at one kid or what's the plan?
Yeah, just the one. About well, when was it back in? Because she was born end of July last year, and I said to Amy, like, after the first 3 months, I was like, I don't think I want to do this again. To be honest, she didn't have like a great pregnancy, and so I was just, yeah, I think, and I'm 41 now, so I'm a bit older than the rest of the White Sidious guys. And I was always on the edge of like having a kid over the age of 40 anyway. So she was 40 when I was, or I was 40 when she was born. So I was like over that because I don't want to be in like my 60s and them just being like, just turning 18 and stuff. I thought that was maybe a bit too much. So, I put a limit on like 40 being the age that I really wanted to have a kid. So had one just in time. So then in March this year, I got the snip.
There you go.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, I almost got the snip. I had an initial appointment. I just never followed up. I got a little scared, but it's not even bad. Everyone says it's not bad at
Nah.
all.
It's always funny in TV shows and films, they make it out to be much worse, like the recovery stage as well. Like, I was fine after
The
a good
Office.
day.
Snip, snap, snip, snap. How much can one human go through? He says something like that.
So
Yeah.
it was absolutely fine.
How about this? Does it change your libido?
Nah.
That's good. Yeah.
Nah,
See,
it's all
I didn't
good.
want it to change that either.
The only, I mean, not to get too graphic about it, the only worst thing is when in the middle of when you're having it done is that because what they do is obviously put a little slit in, they pull the tubes out, snip them in half, and then they like sear the ends of them to obviously make sure they're sealed. And it's just that smell of burning flesh hits you like
Oh,
about 30 seconds later, and you're like, oh, like it smells more like burning hair, I guess. But I was just like,
oh,
okay,
yeah.
that's fine. And the nurse
Good.
and doctor are just chatting to me. They're like, "Tell me about being a chef," and I'm like, "So I'm just talking about being a chef while they're just playing with my balls, essentially."
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just try other methods.
We talked about it, and I was just like, rather than force my wife to be on, um, contraception or whatever for the rest of her life, or until she hits menopause, whatever comes first. I was just like, let me take the snip, and then we don't have to worry about anything. So it's all done then, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, man. 4 is good. 4 is balanced for us, man. The force is balanced because I don't know if a younger boy would feel isolated from his older twin brothers who are obviously so close, but also, I mean, that's just whatever. But that's just theory talk. But my daughter now has a girl to connect with as a sibling. So because she definitely feels a little bit isolated from the twins. They're not only are they just younger than her, so they require more direct attention, but they just play with each other so much. They do all their boy things, and I think she feels left out. So I think a daughter just totally brings balance to the force.
That's fair. I mean, have you got any siblings?
One older sister,
What's the age difference between you?
like 2 years.
That's not too bad then.
Yeah,
Because like I had an older brother, technically half brother because we had different dads. But obviously we grew up together, and he was 5 years older than me, so we never really connected or did anything together. Because especially when you start, harder for me to connect with him, I guess. Because like especially when you want to start hanging out with him, because he's like 13 when I'm 8. And he's obviously that's two completely different worlds. And then when he's like 17 and I'm 12, again that's two completely. A 17-year-old doesn't want to hang out with a 12-year-old.
right,
So I never really got any connection with my brother because the age difference was maybe just a bit too much in
right.
terms of then like us being able to connect, because like the different things you're doing at those ages just didn't really allow us to be of the same thing.
And now you're still not very close.
I mean, it's not something I talk about loads, but I don't have any family alive anymore. All my family passed away years ago.
Oh wow.
So I'm technically I'm Batman because I'm an orphan. Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, all my family passed away a long time ago. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You carry a very positive demeanor for that. That's tough, man, to go through. So yeah, props to you. My dad.
that's a dark story for another time. Trust me, I've got a far darker story than Batman.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, my dad lost both of his folks really early, so I don't know. He might relate. He still has his siblings. I don't know. I'm sorry, dude, but yeah, you seem to be
You don't have
carrying
to worry
yourself
about
very
it.
well.
Like I say, I'm 41. It was all a long time ago and stuff. And whilst obviously there's always like residual pain, I guess, from stuff, but you kind of have to deal with it and move on a little bit, don't you? So, I mean, I kind of think now that because I've got quite a rare surname, there's not many people in the UK that have my surname. In fact, I've never met anyone else with my surname. So just in the fact that that then kind of thinks, oh, I've got a legacy to pass on because I've got a rare surname and I kind of want that to carry on a bit. So it's just like it's not like it's Smith or Jones or a very common surname to band around. So it's one that, because when me and my wife got married, she decided she wanted to keep her name rather than change her surname to mine. And I was like, that's fine. So we made a deal that she could keep her surname, but when we had a kid, the kid gets my surname.
Oh, okay.
And because I've got a daughter, obviously there's a good chance that when she gets married later on in life, she might take her husband's name, and that's when
Right.
I'm going to sit there and tell her that under no no uncertain terms she's not allowed to take her husband's surname. She's got to keep mine, and that the kids get my surname as well. And I'll warn my future son-in-law that this is the case.
That would be like following in her mother's footsteps, keeping her surname.
Well, yeah, but it's my surname, so
Yeah. So it's kind of like following her footsteps while keeping your surname. Win-win.
because otherwise, my surname gets sort of blinked out of existence, so to speak, and that would be kind of sad, I
Right.
guess. So a little bit of family legacy to carry on.
Yeah, I was the last Dar, the last boy, out of this generation, from my dad or his uncles or anything. So luckily, I had twin boys, so the weight's off my chest now. It's on them. I think
Do you know what your next one's going to be?
a girl, Noelle.
You know it's a girl. Okay,
Yeah, Noelle
yeah, definitely
Indy.
balanced. Oh,
So
that's you got the name already. Blind.
yeah, I snuck some comic theme into there with the Indy.
Same. I mean, I had to because we agreed very quickly on what our daughter's name would be. We disagreed about the spelling for several months. Because her name's Sophia, and my wife wanted to spell it with an F, and I wanted to spell it with a PH in the middle. And because I'm always right, I won the argument. So we get to spell it with a PH. And then we agreed for ages that we wouldn't have a middle name either. And I think literally like 2 weeks before she was born, I got her to agree to let me have the middle name as Leia. So I had some Star Wars in there.
Oh, cool.
She very graciously, maybe because she was just like, I want this kid out of me now, so I'm going to agree to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, not long before she was born, I was like, oh, can I not just have Leia in there? Like, because I was told no, we agreed no Star Wars comic book or video game names as the first name.
Ah, okay, just the first.
So yeah, just as the first name. So we agreed that wouldn't be the case because obviously if it was going to be a boy, I was going to fight for Anakin and all that sort of stuff. So
It's so funny that had to be a rule. Like, listen, Andy, you cannot name a first name based on Star
it's
Wars.
because we kept saying our names out loud, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, and she's like, it's from Final Fantasy, and I'm like, absolutely not.
See, I snuck Grayson, the great first name, but obviously you got some Nightwing in there.
Mm.
And then Owen doesn't have any comic book stuff, but we were lucky that we liked the middle name Maverick, and we had never seen Top Gun Maverick. Turns out that we absolutely loved that movie, so that worked out well. And then everyone always said I looked like Owen Wilson, and I liked the name Owen. But Lexi and I were always really quick with picking names. There was always like we pretty much found one we liked really quick with all the kids.
I think for us is like, yeah, the girl's name, because we didn't know this when we started obviously thinking about names. We didn't know if it was going to be a girl or a boy at that stage, and so we settled on the girl's name instantly. I think it was very quickly. We said it out loud and went, "Yep, that's fine." The boy's name we couldn't decide on. We just couldn't find a name that felt right. And especially when I was like, I kept thinking about names and then going, no, I don't like that name, or I really like this name, but there's a dickhead in my office with that name, so I can't call my son that because then it's going to be named after the idiot I work with. So I was like, yeah, we couldn't settle on a boy's name. To be fair, I still don't know what we would have called them if it was a boy. So I'm glad we got a girl in the end.
Yeah. How common is it for UK people not to have a middle name?
I think most people still do middle names. Yeah, I think it's still a fairly common thing because I think it's just something that gets. It's been obviously like most people have a middle name, so therefore they give their kids a middle name. They're kind of pointless. They don't really need them. They're not of use for anything.
They are totally, yeah.
I think it was just the way that people used to like. If you go back generations, people used to name give all their family names to their kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think middle names probably came from, wasn't it? And so then it just became a thing that because you had middle names, you give your kids middle names and so on. Like, no need for a middle name, really.
Right. Yeah, maybe it evolved because people needed to fit a family name in there, but then they also want their own name. So all right, let's just do 3 names.
Yeah, my brother had 2 middle names.
Oh,
So
wow.
he had 4 technically. So his first name, 2 middle names, and surname. I just got the one, and then yeah, they didn't think too hard with my names, so it's just Andrew John. That's
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, thanks for the common names. It's all good. Or name me after disciples, one of the two. I'm not really sure which. How's your pec injury, by the way?
It's good. I, got back in the gym today. I can't do any kind of really deep chest, um, anything that pulls my chest back like this. I can't do. But yeah, we just did back and biceps. It was good. Daily, I got full mobility and everything. That was scary. So like, I tore the same. This is a repeat injury from 2012. So this tore, and I was doing the same exact thing, maxing out on bench, and it tore, and it left a really weird like gap of muscle for the past decade or whatever. So it was stupid to try to max out on bench again, because for the past decade I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done maxing out. Let's see how many reps I can get of 225 or something, and just don't go higher with weight, just go higher with reps. So yeah, maxing out. But I had a buddy there with me, which is crazy that these friends, Dustin and Robert, from all the way from high school, met them even middle school. So just one of my best friends lived close by. And then they got Robert has a nice gym in there. So he is like in his prime, like he's stronger than I've ever seen him, stronger than me now. So he was doing his max, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to max as well. And this is like a week ago there. So yeah, that was stupid. I wasn't primed up for max. And
Fair enough, though. I mean, at least it's recovering quickly.
yeah, it made me eat really healthy. I was scared of the recovery. So I was scared I wouldn't be able to get in the gym for a few weeks. So I started juicing a bunch of vegetables, which I have a history of. Like when I was through college, I was juicing vegetables every single day. Just kale, just nasty juices. It'll just be like a ton of kale, and then a freaking celery, and a big old chunk of ginger. And it cleared me right up, man. I used to be well, not a runner at all. Like as far as I did track, but only sprints and throws. Hated doing anything like even close to a mile. I also had acne, and all this stuff. Like my acne cleared up when I started juicing. I got great cardio. I started running really long and feeling good. I feel like it really changed my life. I would highly recommend anyone juice a ton of vegetables every day. It takes a couple months, but you'll just transform into just a super healthy being.
That's fair enough. I mean, when I stopped being a chef, I piled on so much weight because obviously I went from doing like 80 to 100 hours a week. Obviously, you're on your feet constantly. You don't actually eat that much. You're tasting a lot of food, but you don't really get to sit down and eat your proper meals and stuff until maybe you get home at like midnight. And even then, it's like have a quick snack, go to bed. And then when I stopped being a chef and I just sat on my backside and worked in an office, I just piled on the weight. So I literally I think I've doubled my weight in the last six years compared to where I was before.
Hell yeah. Man, I worked at a bagel shop, and I had like 4 bagels a day. And that was the heaviest I was ever at too. But I was also a sophomore in high school trying to bulk up and play football. So I wasn't mad that I got up to like 245 and as a sophomore in high school. But then I also got fired because I wasn't supposed to eat that much of their food.
Yeah, I couldn't be trusted to work in a bakery nowadays, that's for sure. There's no produce making it out to the customer if I'm in a bakery.
Yeah. That was my very first job. It lasted about a month.
That's fair enough. Should we wrap up things and just have one nerd thing that we'll throw in there then? So because people don't hear a lot about I guess we call them nerd credentials, but I like to focus on like what we did nerd wise as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to get the comic books delivered to my house every single week. I used to sit there and read non-stop. So I read a hell of a lot of Marvel, a little bit of DC, the old school like Dark Horse, Star Wars comics as well, and stuff like that. But what about yourself, mate? When you were a kid, what was it that you read a lot of, if you did at all? Because some
I
people don't
actually
even come into nerdism until they're later.
Yeah, I didn't really read a lot of comic books when I was young, but I did read when I was young. I remember reading a lot of really cool little fantasy books and horror books that were kind of for kids. They were called Dead Time stories, and there was dozens of those. So I did some reading. As far as your popular IPs, Batman animated series. I mean, I would rush home and throw that on the Cartoon Network. Um, at video games too. But yeah, I didn't even start reading comics. You know, what really sparked that was the MCU being so interconnected successfully. It really sparked like I wanted more of that. I liked
Mm,
that so much, just seeing, Thor's hammer pop up and Iron Man and all these connections. It was so cool. And then I picked up Infinity Gauntlet before I think even before it must have been before Endgame or something like that. No, it was way before that when I started reading.
mm,
After Avengers 1, when they introduced Thanos, and we already seen a couple Infinity Stones. I read Infinity Gauntlet and I was like, wow, I just enjoyed it. So ever since then, I was addicted. I had to like cover all these major events. I covered the Thanos stuff because we knew Thanos was coming. When Winter Soldier showed up, I had to get that series. So I just started like addictively buying comics to fill in this gap of, or not gap, but just like I wanted a timeline. I wanted to know all the backstory and history, and I just enjoyed it so much on the big screen. Figured the comics would work out, and sure enough, yeah. But as a kid, man, Batman, I loved Lord of the Rings. Um,
oh yeah, you're young enough
still
to call that as a kid, aren't you?
right.
So I was
So
like an adult when Lord of the Rings came out.
for sure. We did it every Christmas for those 3 years. It did come out. My uncle, who does live in Germany, when he lived in America, there we would. He kind of led that charge. So like the most special experience in the movie theaters ever. I think is still Lord of the Rings. So loved that. Yeah. So that's about it. So I wasn't a super nerd in my young age as far as comics.
I had an embarrassing experience at the watching Fellowship of the Rings in the cinema because I don't know why I went in and watched that film, and when the film ended, I kind of, even though I like read the books when I was a kid, obviously I knew this was a three-part film series, but at the end of that first film, I kind of forgot for a moment that there were still two more films to come. And I remember just standing up and being like, "What the fuck was that? Why is that ended there? That's a useless way to end a film," and like completely forgetting there's still two films to go, and everyone's like, "There's still two films to go, Andy." I'm like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So just completely embarrassing myself, going, "Yep, okay, fair enough." That's
Or like the end of the Two Towers, or was it the end of the Two Towers? No, the end of the Fellowship. Yeah, when you realize
yeah,
Gollum's going to be against him and Frodo's on his own. Yeah, man, I couldn't. That was like one of the worst cliffhangers of any movie ever. You're just like, no, I have to know what's going to happen. Thank God it only did come out 1 year apart. That was a pretty
mm,
special thing to do, like a
yeah,
trilogy all filmed at once, released like that. That's still like,
yeah. It's still
it still just
unique. That's
stands
not something
out.
they even come close to doing now, isn't it? Doing all like filming all that stuff at once,
Yeah.
and then just chopping it up over time. But what
Um,
I used to love in the '90s was like, well, obviously it is on Disney Plus now as X-Men '97, so the original animated X-Men. That was a big thing for me when I was like getting into my teenage years. It was like everywhere. I remember the weekends when I used to go to like the local leisure centre and do swimming and stuff, and come out and like grabbing some money off my mum so I could go and play on the old arcade machines. They used to have like an X-Men, almost like a Street Fighter style arcade game. Like pick your X-Men hero to battle with, and you just go around kicking everyone's ass, and like the 2D games. I still love that stuff in the '90s, man. You just don't get that anymore.
yeah.
I feel weird going to the amusements now as an adult because it's just not quite the same.
Yeah, and neither are video games. So I remember the first Xbox. I was real young, but Need for Speed Underground. I played that for hours. Loved it. You could be the cop. You could send in the helicopters. You could run from the cops. So
Mm.
I missed the gaming that didn't have to all be online, where I could just log in, play a really cool storyline, like especially with like an open world Need for Speed, like their Most Wanted or Underground stuff. I really miss that. Everything's all online now, dude.
I just struggle with stories because like I hate that obviously 90% of games is like some form of combat or you've got a shooting all the time. So I like story based games, but like without necessarily having to constantly be fighting or having to shoot your way out of situations. I'm probably about to contradict that because I was going to say like the Mass Effect series, the Mass Effect trilogy is some of my all-time favorite games. And I know there's a lot of fighting in there, but it's because the story and the lore is so good in it, and the fact that it's a decision-based game as well. So the decisions you make affect things throughout the game and affect things throughout the trilogy. And it's even things that you don't even know about. It's like a tiny decision that you make in the first game, all of a sudden had a massive ramification in the third game. So it's just, I love that kind of story-based game, and the fact that we don't even get much of that anymore. Or like I said, it's all like fighting and stuff. So like, I have no interest in playing Call of Duty or modern or any of that sort of stuff. Really, like apart from like the only fighting game I let slide is a Star Wars game, simply because it's Star Wars. So like Battlefront 2, I will still go online and kill it for a night.
The only thing I can't stand is a ton of cutscenes. See, I actually prefer the game to be more action oriented. Like can't stand it when I got to sit there and watch a whole cutscene, because there's a difference to me between gaming and watching a movie. Like if I
Mm,
chose a movie, I chose a movie. Even if there's a great story that's stuffed into a game, like I really do just want to play the game. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to watch a narrative really, but I
yeah.
can appreciate when narrative bleeds into it a little bit. Just don't make me watch a bunch of cutscenes. Yeah,
Although I love management and park building type games as well though. So things like 2 Point Campus or like the Jurassic World Evolution games.
Interesting.
And just things where I can like just manage a park or I can design things how I want it to be. I love getting to do those. It sets my mind at ease when I get to do that organizational type thing.
I think Elden Ring is my favorite game of all
I
time.
remember you saying that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
not played it because I just look at it and go, it seems like a chore. But I don't love fighting games that much that the entire game is based around like doing that type of thing.
Yeah, I would say there's more exploration than fighting,
Hmm.
and there's the exploration is pretty special in my opinion. You find I'm playing my third time through, and I'm finding new things, new caves, new bosses to fight, new items. So it's really fascinating. It really gets the national treasure side of your brain
Hmm.
flowing.
So yeah, I mean, I love games that have deep lore in it generally, but yeah, if there's too much fighting, it puts me off, and I don't really like turn-based games either. I don't know why. Or games where you like I guess a bit like Elden Ring, maybe like Final Fantasy and things like that, where you have to like have different develop all your magics and all your other fightings and stuff like that, and potions, and you can pause the game to decide which potions you're going to use next halfway through the battle. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's just that I don't know why older me or as I am now just doesn't really like playing that sort of game for some reason. I'm just like, nah, give me a bunch of decisions to make in the moment and let that affect the game as I go through it. So there's a bunch of horror games like called
Oh yeah.
Man of Medan or The Quarry and things like that, where you're just going through it and you don't really have to fight anything, but just making your decisions there and then to see if like the character lives or dies and how many can get through to the end and make it through alive. It's just that's more the thing I'm into nowadays.
Yeah. Going back, I can't believe I didn't think about it for childhood nerdy stuff. Dragon Ball Z. So that was one of my
Fair.
biggest things when I was a kid. Did you watch any of that?
Not really. I mean, I know of it. I know all the popular things from it, but it's not something I sat down and watched loads of. I struggled with anime for a long time, simply because I just couldn't really get into it. And then, if anything, like Star Wars: The Clone Wars TV series got me more into watching animated stuff
Hmm.
because I'm like, this is Star Wars. I'm going to watch that, and so that kind of opened the gateway for me to be able to then watch other stuff and be okay with it. So I don't know if you ever watched like the some of the I like watching some of the Japanese Godzilla stuff on Netflix.
Ooh.
Um, some of that stuff's really good, and that again has opened the doorway for me to be able to watch other things. Star Wars Visions that we've already had 2 series of. We've got the third one coming up next month, or at the end of this month, I think actually. So opening the door through something that I love to give me animated stuff, and then that gets me onto watching other animated stuff. So eventually, there's going to be a bunch of stuff I'm going to watch. I've just got to get there.
Yeah, anime has somewhat of a resurgence in society
Mm,
now. I personally have only seen Dragon Ball Z, so it's just one of my favorite shows ever. It's like I couldn't recommend it to someone if you haven't seen it. I don't know if it would work watching it for the first time as an adult. Maybe some of the best scenes at least, but there is so much filler. And of course, the Japanese version is better if you do the subbed. But other than that, I've actually seen One Punch Man. That's the only other anime
mm.
I've seen, and I really liked that as well.
I mean, I've got Arcane. Arcane's on my list of things to watch because supposedly that's really really good. It was something my other half was watching. I can't remember what it was now. Um, might have been like a League of Legends type thing as well. She was watching an animated show, and I kind of got half into it, and I'm like, oh, don't watch the next episode without me. So I'm like, let me sit down and watch it now. So, but yeah, so I like the fact that the gateway was open for me to watch other stuff, but I'm still not. It's still not. I still prefer obviously good old traditional TV series.
Yeah. All right. Well, almost an hour. Let's wrap it up, buddy. Next up, by the way, if you're still live, this was supposed to be more just a laid back conversation about whatever life happened to be a lot about life instead of nerdy stuff. But hey, next up, actually, tomorrow we're going to do a live recording of covering Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman, volumes 1 through 3. So stay looked out for that. Talking's hard. And yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll be with you next time.
So we've got some other good stuff coming up as well. We've got Week in Geek is going to be coming soon. We're going to be covering Alien Earth soon.
Alien Earth, yeah.
You guys are going to be covering Peacemaker. I've not had a chance to watch season 2, so make sure you're tuning in, guys. My name's Sidious. Lots of good stuff on the way. But well, we will see you all tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Thanks, y'all.